I just need more hours! This is impossible! More time, please!
You've been lied to about productivity. Not by some guru, not by a bad boss, by the entire concept of time management itself.
It was you all along.
You've been told that the secret to getting more done is managing your time better, squeezing more tasks into fewer hours, blocking your calendar down to 15-minute chunks, optimizing every minute of your day. Here's the problem. You've probably tried that, and you're still exhausted, still behind, still ending the day feeling like you ran a marathon but went nowhere. That's not a time problem. That's an energy problem, and your schedule is making it worse. Here's what a typical productive day looks like for most people. You wake up and check your email immediately. Answer a few messages over breakfast, jump into your first meeting at 9 a.m., then another at 10. Somewhere around 11, you try to chip away at actual work, but your brain is already mush from the meetings. Lunch, a little afternoon admin. By 3 p.m., you're in a fog. So you push through, chug another coffee, grind until 6 or 7, and feel vaguely guilty about everything you didn't finish. Sound familiar? Here's what's actually happening. Your brain runs on ultradian rhythms, roughly 90-minute cycles of peak focus followed by a dip. Your cortisol and alertness peak in the first 2 to 3 hours after you wake up. That window, that is your biological prime time, your single best shot at doing hard, creative, high-stakes thinking. And most people spend it on email. The hidden cost isn't just that you got less done. It's that you burned your sharpest cognitive fuel on the cheapest tasks and then tried to do your most important work on fumes. That's why you feel so damn tired at 3 p.m. You didn't run out of time. You ran out of brain.
Here's the reframe. Stop thinking of your day as a block of hours to fill. Start thinking of it as a series of energy states to deploy.
Observe the day's energy flow. A peak high for intense action, then a medium, then low to recover.
Think of your energy like a phone battery. At 100%, first thing in the morning, you run 4K video, GPS, everything at full power. By afternoon, you're at 20%, and suddenly nothing works as it should. You can still use it, but don't expect it to perform as it did at 8 a.m.
Why isn't this working? Come on, load already! I need these apps now! This is so frustrating.
The mistake isn't working too many hours. The mistake is running your battery-draining apps when you're already at 20%. What if instead you matched the task to the battery level? Hard cognitive work at 100%, admin and communication at 50%, low-stakes tasks when you're running on empty. That's not a radical idea, but almost nobody does it because nobody told them to build their schedule around energy instead of time. I'll show you exactly how. Rule 1. Protect your peak. No meetings before 10 a.m. This is the non-negotiable one. Your first 90 minutes to 2 hours after waking up is your cognitive gold. Neuroscience calls it the peak phase. Your working memory is sharper, pattern recognition is faster, and your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that does actual thinking, is most active. Here's how to implement it. The night before, identify one task, just one, that requires your best thinking. Could be writing, strategizing, solving a hard problem, coding, or designing. Whatever it is that actually moves the needle in your work. Block 90 minutes for it first thing. No email, no Slack, no meetings. Phone on Do Not Disturb.
But I have an 8 a.m. stand-up.
The objection I always hear, but I have an 8 a.m. stand-up that I can't move. Fair. So your peak work starts the moment that the meeting ends. Guard it as your life depends on it, because your career kind of does. Why it works? Decision fatigue is real. Every email you answer, every small choice you make, chips away at your cognitive capacity. If you start your day with low-value tasks, you're essentially spending your sharpest neurons on things that don't matter. Flip the order, and you've fundamentally changed your output ceiling.
Rule 2. Do your boring stuff when you're already fading.
Most people fall off a cliff, a real cognitive dip, somewhere between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. This isn't a weakness, it's biology. Your body temperature dips slightly after lunch, melatonin nudges upward, and alertness falls. Scientists call it the post-lunch dip, and fighting it with caffeine is mostly just delaying the crash. So stop fighting it. Use it. Here's what your worst hours are actually good for: email and Slack, admin tasks, scheduling, data entry, routine decisions, returning calls, and expense reports. Everything that feels tedious when you're sharp becomes completely fine when you're running at 50%, because those tasks don't need your best brain. They just need to get done. Implementation. At the start of your week, list out all your shallow tasks, the stuff that doesn't require deep thought. Keep that list somewhere visible. When 1:30 p.m. hits and your brain starts fogging over, that's your cue. Work through the shallow list until you hit your recovery window. Yeah, but I'll miss urgent messages if I don't check email in the morning. Look, almost nothing is as urgent as the sender thinks it is. Set an auto reply if you need to. I check messages at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. For true emergencies, call me. You'll quickly discover almost no one calls.
Rule 3. Build in recovery. The 20-minute rule. Here's what nobody talks about. Your brain needs to recover between deep work sessions, the same way your muscles need rest between sets at the gym. Push through without a real break, and each subsequent session gets worse, less creative, less accurate, slower. The fix is embarrassingly simple. After every 90-minute deep work block, take a real 20-minute break. Not a scroll Twitter break, not a check email break, an actual break. Walk around the block, make a real lunch, sit outside, stare at nothing. The key is that your prefrontal cortex gets to go offline completely. Research from the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, found that these offline periods are when your brain consolidates new information, generates creative connections, and basically recharges for the next round. Skip them, and you get diminishing returns on every subsequent hour. Take them, and your 4 p.m. work can actually be decent instead of garbage. Real numbers: if you do 90 minutes of peak work, then a 20-minute real break, then another 60 to 90 minutes in a second peak window, you've done roughly 3 hours of genuinely good work. That beats 8 hours of mediocre grinding every single time. 3 focused hours of real output are more than most people produce in a full workday of pretending to be productive. Rule 4. End with a rebound, the 30-minute second wind. Most people don't know this, but there's often a second energy peak in the late afternoon, roughly 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for people who wake around 6-7 a.m. It's shorter and less intense than the morning peak, but it's real. And most people waste it watching Netflix or mindlessly scrolling when their brain could actually do useful work. This window is perfect for creative tasks that are lower stakes, reviewing and editing work from the morning, planning tomorrow, learning something new, and brainstorming without pressure. Implementation. Block 30 minutes between 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. for one specific thing. Not a whole project, one task. Review the draft you wrote this morning. Map out tomorrow's priorities. Read something that makes you smarter. It's a small window, but consistent use of it compounds massively over weeks and months. Here's the kicker. Ending your workday with a small win sends a different signal to your brain than ending it exhausted and behind. You start the next morning with momentum instead of dread.
So why does this whole system work at a deeper level? Because it's working with your biology instead of against it. The conventional approach to productivity treats your brain like a machine. Put in more hours, get more output. But your brain is not a machine. It's an organ with rhythms, chemical constraints, and recovery needs. Treating it like hardware is why you're exhausted. Researcher Peretz Lavie mapped human alertness through the day in the 1980s and found clear sleep gates and alertness windows that follow predictable patterns. Since then, researchers like Michael Bruce and Russell Foster have built entire frameworks around circadian biology and performance. The takeaway is consistent. When you do the task matters as much as how long you spend on it. There's also something deeper going on psychologically. When you consistently do your best thinking at your best times and stop expecting heroic focus from a depleted brain, you stop feeling like a failure at 3 p.m. You stop conflating tiredness with laziness. You understand the dip, you plan for it, and you stop fighting your own biology. That mental shift alone is worth the whole system.
Here's the core idea, stripped down. Your brain is not equally useful at all hours. Your schedule should reflect that. And right now, for most people, it doesn't. You don't need more hours. You need to stop wasting your best hours on your worst tasks. Here's your one action step for today, just one. Tonight, before you close your laptop, write down the single most important cognitive task you need to do tomorrow, something that requires actual thinking. Then block the first 90 minutes of your morning for it and put your phone in another room while you do it. That's it. Don't redesign your whole schedule. Don't buy a new planner. Don't overhaul your morning routine. Just do one hard thing first without distractions. By noon tomorrow, you'll have already done the thing that actually mattered. Everything else is just cleanup. That feeling, finishing your real work while most people are still checking email, that's what this is about. Try it once. See what happens.